Welcome to the Life Makeovers podcast. My name is Cindy D. Whitmer, and I am the Midlife Makeover Coach, helping you turn your midlife into your best life, one step at a time. Through powerful conversations, my own midlife roller coaster story, and over 3 decades of helping people transform their lives through counseling and coaching, I am on a mission to help you create your own definition of success and happiness. Thank you for being here. Hey, everybody, it's Cindy here. Thank you so much for being here and listening to the Life Makeovers podcast. I am so honored that you take time out to spend this time with me. And today I feel like I have a topic that is so important. I mean, I think they all are, or I wouldn't bother with them, but this one to me is so, so, so important. It's kind of the clue to a happy life. It's like if you had one ingredient, I think, to a happy life, it would be this. And that is self-worth. Self-worth. Now, recently I talked to my group coaching clients who are all women in midlife, of course. That's my main audience. But of course, I do coaching and counseling with couples and men and teams and other things too. But anyway, I was working with my group coaching clients, and we were talking about our ego versus our real self. Okay, our ego versus our real self. And I have heard the ego labeled as edging goodness out, EGO, edging good, edging goodness out, or edging God out, for those of you who are God people. Because ego, anything ego based, that part of our personalities or personas or whatever, that's ego based is the fear based part of ourselves. It's that part of ourselves that think we have wants and we have needs, and we focus on more and more and more. And we think we're in competition with everyone. We think the world is scary and bad. And so the ego works to protect us a lot of the time. And then we have the real self, our real selves, which is based on love. This is the I am, the present focused part of ourselves that knows we're more than just these bodies, running around on the earthly plane or whatever. And so our life is a movement from our ego selves to our real selves. So anytime you feel really good, really at peace with yourself, you are engaging in things that give you great meaning and satisfaction in your lives. You are taking responsibility for your actions, your choices, your words, your everything. You're probably in your real self space. And the opposite would mean you are in your ego space when you feel like you need to be afraid of how your next dollar is going to show up, or if you feel if you're blaming other people a lot for hurting you, or if you're scared to take that next step in your life, whatever that is, or or if you're really stuck in the past or only future focused. Those are all kind of ego concepts. So shift the real self knows there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you, and the ego is always picking you apart. The ego is the part of you that says, oh, you need to change this and you need to change that, and you're not smart enough, and you're too old, and you're not, your body isn't right, and you need to try harder, and what's the matter with you, and you're too emotional, and all those judgmental things. That's your ego just picking on you. So again, your real self knows there is nothing wrong with you. So that is what self-worth is the real self approach. Self-worth is you are worthy just because you are you. Okay, you don't have to be any certain way. You don't have to accomplish any certain thing. You don't have to you don't have to do anything other than be your authentic self. And that is more than enough. So the real self is a real reflection of our self-worth. And the higher our self-worth is, the happier we will be, the more successful we will be, whatever success means to you, whether that means financial stability, whether that means a great relationship with all your family members, whether that means just experiencing daily joy in whatever you're involved in. I mean, you define success your way, but the higher your self-worth is, the healthier that is, the more likely you are to line up with things that will create your definition of success in your life. Whereas self-confidence, self-confidence is based on activities and skills and accomplishments and believing in your ability to do those things. And there's nothing wrong with self-confidence. We often need it to be able to carry out some things that we want to do or need to do, or things we want to try that are new. So self-confidence isn't a bad thing, but it is not the same thing as having great self-worth, because you can accomplish all kinds of things. You could, climb to the top of a mountain. You could, earn $1 million. You could raise 5 children successfully into healthy adults. And you might not feel, you have great worth within. You may just focus on what you're doing out there that's making a difference out there, which is all great stuff. But in deep down, you may have some, residue of shame or guilt or regret in your life, or think you're not enough still, no matter how much you do on the outside. So the more authentic you allow yourself to be, the more actual you allow yourself to be, the greater your self-worth will be, which will also grow your self-confidence that, in your ability to do anything you want to do. Okay, so that's a whole lot right there, just to give this foundation of where I'm headed next. So let me grab a drink of water. Take a breath, everyone. I hope you have your notebooks and your pens today, because I'm really going after it. So remembering all those things I said about the real self versus the ego, self-worth, authenticity, and all of that, self-confidence, all of those things, I have just got to share someone new that has come along in my midst that I have been listening to and soaking her up like a sponge. And her new book is on its way to my house right now. And I can't hardly stand to wait to get my hands on it. But I've listened to several interviews of her. Her name, maybe you have too. Her name is Jamie Kerns Lima. Jamie Kerns Lima. Sorry, forgot to look it up before I started. But anyway, she has a new book called Worthy. Okay. And it's all about the subject of self-worth and feeling like you're enough. And to listen to her talk about it, and to listen to her talk about her life stories that have led her on this path to now make this her life work, helping us all raise our worth, has been an incredible thing to listen to and hear. And I've heard her on several podcasts recently, and you can find her anywhere you want to. But let me give you some of the main nuggets that I've gotten from listening to several interviews of her. So, and just to give you a little backstory, I mean, she's known as the person who was once a Denny's restaurant waitress, barely making ends meet, saving up her tips, hoping to, be able to pay her bills, to selling her cosmetics company called It Cosmetics to L'Oreal for 1.2, ready for it, $billion. Billion with a B. Okay. So she has gone from, just a very humble, earnings to being a self-made billionaire. Okay. And she is not, 80 years old. She's like a young woman and hopefully has many decades left to contribute to the world because she is on to something huge now with her work on worth. Okay. So, and just to tell you, her book Worthy, which is available everywhere now, she is not taking any of the profits from the sale of that book. She's giving it all 100% away to charity, which I love. So please go buy it because you're not only going to help yourself, which this book, it's going to help us all, but you're also helping other, charitably as well. So what a double gift that is. Yay. Thank you, Jamie, for that, for being that way. Okay. So Jamie says, okay, author of Worthy, she was told no a gazillion times when she was developing this cosmetics company. She didn't know how to make makeup. She didn't know anything about it. She didn't know how to run a business. She didn't know any of that stuff. She just started learning off the cuff when she developed a skin issue and couldn't find makeup that covered it or corrected it or whatever. And so that's what ignited her life to shift into the cosmetics industry. And she had a vision for the cosmetics industry that it would be more than supermodels or very young gals with, perfect non-blemished skin. She had a vision to put people in, advertisements and on QVC and everything, real people like you and me who aren't perfectly shaped and who aren't, 16 years old, and women of all skin types, skin colors, ages, races, just everybody. She wanted it to be the cosmetics industry to be all inclusive, which I also deeply love and respect about her. And the cosmetic industry and business investors and banks and everything would not invest in this because they told her she was crazy. She told her, no way is that going to work. No way. And so she got all these no's, 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 no's. People told her no for years. People were not listening to her. People were not believing her that she was onto something huge and had a great product that would take care of, rosacea, I believe is the skin condition she had that she was trying to work with, create cosmetics that work well with that. Was told a gazillion times. And she said every time somebody told her no, people gave her a no, she said that God gave her a knowing to just keep going. And I thought, oh my gosh, I love that. So if you've been told, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that, no, you're not worth investing in, no, that's a bad idea, no, no, no. If you really feel inspired about what you're doing, think of that no as God giving you a knowing. That people are giving you no's, but God is giving you a knowing. And so you can choose which one you're going to listen to. And this came very timely for me because I had a meeting with a company, a marketing company recently. Some of you have heard this because I think I wrote about it in a newsletter not too long ago. But there's a very successful marketing company out there that I came across on, and I know that I need help with my marketing. I know that is an area where of growth for me because that's not my area of genius. My area of genius is helping people transform their lives through counseling, coaching, speaking, and writing. And so I want to stay in my lane and do those things where I am an expert and thrive and really help create great results with people. And I want to hire out things that I'm not great at. So I was looking at this wildly successful marketing company, and I met with the founder of it. And she saw my whole profile. She saw everything I've worked for, all that I've done on my own in the last 7 years in business with myself and everything. And she was very nice, and I respect her a lot. But anyway, at the end of the meeting, she basically said to me, we would have so much work to do in the back end of your business. It's not worth our time. And I thought, oh, I was like, okay, so I've created a best-selling book a 12-week course. I have a weekly newsletter. I have a podcast that's been going for almost a year and a half. I have a private Facebook group that's got over 6,000 women in it. I have a business page. I have a private coaching group. I have private coaching clients. I am a speaker. I am a writer. I am on consistently on social media. I have over 400 videos on YouTube. I have all of this content I've created, all these programs I've created, all these ways that I help people. And she basically thought I wasn't worth her time. I have over 35 years experience. I have the personal story to go along with the professional training. I mean, I've got it all, honestly. And I don't mean that like, oh, I mean, I have worked within this industry for over 35 years, and I have continued to educate myself and train myself. I've continued to grow personally and professionally. I have taken training and had coaches all the way and followed their advice and done all these things. And that was her conclusion. And I thought, you don't see me. I left that meeting thinking, at first I thought, wow, I guess I haven't done enough. And then I thought, no, that isn't it. I just need more marketing and visibility. I need better visibility. And it's all the pieces are in place. So it isn't that I'm not enough. It's that I just need more visibility. And this person sitting in front of me doesn't see in me what I know to be true. That all I need is more visibility, and my impact will spread far and wide. And I will help astronomically more people because all the meat of the business is there. It's all there. So we just need more eyes on it. So that's how I translate that experience in Jamie Kerns Lima's terms is that person gave me a hard no. And inside God was saying, no, you just keep at it. You keep going because you've got something here that's worth people's attention on a grand scale. So remember, Jamie teaches that self-doubt lies to us all day long. Self-doubt lies to us all day long. So anything you're doubting in yourself right now, any excuses you're making for yourself, any ways that you're holding yourself back, check and double check and triple check until you see the lies that are embedded in that you can start to turn around, okay, and find the real truth, all right, of your worth. So she shares some lies, okay, that she really teases out in the book. And one of them is, you're not crazy, you're just first, okay? So I love this one. So she was told a lot as she was going along that she was just crazy because no one in her family had, developed a product, or no one in her family had done this, or no one in her family was wealthy, or no one in her family been on television, or, all these things. And she also had big dreams of like helping to end poverty and things like that. And people would tell her all the time, you're crazy. What are you thinking? And so finally she went to a therapist and got some therapy and asked the therapist, I need to know, am I crazy? And the therapist explained to her that sometimes when people have big ideas or they're very successful or whatever, and they've been around people who have more limited thinking, it gets the people very uncomfortable. And so their response to what they don't believe is possible for themselves is to look at someone else and say, you are crazy. And the therapist said, you're not crazy, Jamie, you're just first at doing a lot of these things. Now, Jamie is teaching in her book, Worthy, that we are all first, right? Because there is no one else in the world exactly like us. There is not another Cindy D. Whitmer exactly like me. There are other Cindy Whitmers out there because that's why I added the middle initial so I could get the website. I could get all the links I wanted with my name in it. So there's other Cindy Whitmers, but they're not me and I am not them. So I am bringing something uniquely me to the world in all my relationships and my daily life and everything I'm involved with and my work. And so are you. You're the only, whatever your name is. You're the first. You're the first and the only. And so any ideas you have are not crazy. They're your inspired ideas. Okay. So do not believe the lie that you're crazy. You're just first. And she said, get in alignment with your assignment. Get in alignment with your assignment. And she said, your gut will always lead you to the next right step or to the next lesson. So to really trust your gut. No one else is in charge of you but you. Okay. Another lie she talks about in her book is things like that don't happen to people like us. Okay. Things like that don't happen to people like us, like good things. Okay. One example is, maybe you're the first person in your family that wanted to go to college, and your family was like, our family doesn't go to college. We don't do that. Or maybe you're the first one to, own a boat or something, or take trips outside of the country. And maybe, your family or your group of friends that, we don't do that. No, we don't do things like that. We don't travel worldwide. We don't, or we don't write books, or we don't start businesses, or we don't, invest money, or we don't get educated, or we don't move outside our small town area, or whatever it is. She says, that that's a lie, that things don't happen to people like you, because anything can be possible for you if you really, really want it for yourself. I thought of my mom with this one too, because I brought her here to visit Ed and I here in our home about, it's been almost 6 months ago now. And we live on 10 acres, and it's just, we're very blessed. It's a beautiful little property. There's a pond, and there's trees all over, and there's a playhouse out back, and a trail and a fire pit, just different things that we've added and made to make this space really a lovely, cozy atmosphere where we can enjoy it indoors and outdoors. And she looked around the property and she said, I never lived like this. I never lived like this. And or I never had a life like this. That's what she said to me. She said, I never had a life like this. And I thought, oh, that is so sad. And to me, in my feeling, and I believe that Jamie Kerns Lima is teaching the same thing, is that if my mother could have held a vision for her life like this, then she could have created a life like this. There isn't any reason at all. I mean, she's just as capable as anyone. And so that was really sad to me when she said that. And it really was sad to me. Okay. Let's see. Oh, okay. Okay, get this. So Jamie shared these percentages. I don't know where she got them. She did not indicate in the interviews that I heard, but she says that 80% of all women, listen to this, people, 80% believe they are not enough. 80% of women believe they are not enough, and 73% of men believe they are inadequate. 73% of men believe they're inadequate. I was just shocked. I'm sure she did some real research on that. I just can't tell you where it was right now. I'm sure it's in the book, but 80% of women and 73% of men. The women's percentage doesn't shock me at all, but the man certainly does. 91% of girls and women are uncomfortable with their bodies. 91%. Oh my gosh, we are so hard on ourselves, everyone. I'm one of them. 75% of women in corporate leadership say they experience the imposter syndrome. 75%. So those percentages, all of those statistics, are a real reflection of our struggle with our self-worth and the lies that we tell ourselves. So this is not just women, it's not just men, it's not just, it's people everywhere struggling with this. And she says, remember, authenticity wins every time. and inauthenticity fails every time. So just be you. You are enough. Just be you. You are enough. Okay. Another lie she talks about is my past mistakes and failures determine my future. This is a lie. My past mistakes and failures determine my future. Okay, let's talk about this for a second. Working with you in midlife, I hear this all the time. You say it's too late for you to do this, it's too late for you to do that. You've had one career, it's too late for you to change to a career you'll actually love, or start a business. You were married and divorced, and it's too late for you to find love, or you could never have a successful marriage because the first one, quote unquote, failed. Many of you are very uncomfortable financially. You feel like you've made all kinds of mistakes financially, and it's too late for you to get it turned around. This is not true. Go talk to a financial advisor. Listen to people like Susie Orman, who gives advice for people over age 50 and helps them to turn things around or get a fresh start, whatever it is, clean up your finances. You are not your past. You are not your past. Those of you who've been abused in different ways, sexually, physically, emotionally, think you are damaged goods. You are not damaged goods. You have been through some experiences that were painful, awful. Of course, there's no denying that, but that doesn't mean you're damaged goods. That means you have an opportunity now to heal and to build your worth back up again, to build your life up again, and so forth. You can get far beyond any past mistakes and failures if you will allow yourself. So do not believe the lie that it is going to determine your future, what you've already been through. And if you think your past mistakes and failures are going to determine your future, let it determine your future by helping you turn it around in a way that feels really, really good to you, not doom you to more of the bad. Okay. Next slide. Oh boy. Hold on. Everyone grab something to hang on to. She says your weight determines your worth. This is a lie that she speaks of in this book, that your weight determines your worth. She shares that 89% of girls and women will opt out of an activity when they do not like how they look. Oh, wow. I can really relate to this. Way back when I was in college, and it was a summer, and I lived elsewhere, and I had met this man that I thought was just the most handsome, gorgeous, wow guy I'd ever met in my life. And we were attracted to each other, and we went on a date, and we went on another date. And then we lived in separate areas, but we had a chance to get together again, and see each other again. And we were living where there was an ocean, and I love the ocean so much. And he knew I loved the ocean so much. And he planned a day for us to get together, have a picnic on the beach, go swimming. I mean, how fun does this sound? And with this gorgeous man that I was getting to know. I am so sorry to tell you that I canceled that date at the last minute. I literally canceled that date at the last minute. I made an excuse, and I dropped the date. And I can't remember what I told him, but it was a lie, because the truth was I was scared to have him see me in a swimsuit. That is why I canceled that date. This was way back in the 80s, people. So it started young for me. It started in my 20s, and I weigh, oh my Lord, I weigh 40, 50 pounds more now than I did in my 20s. I didn't want to be seen in a swimsuit by this gorgeous man, so I canceled a chance to be with him. So I am part of that statistic. 89% of girls and women opt out of activities when they don't like how they look. That is why I did that. Now, that was a long time ago. But how does this affect me now? And how does it affect you now? So think about this. Like, if you don't like your body, whether it's your weight or whether it's the size of your breasts or whether it's, something about your smile. I know a lot of women don't like their teeth. Uh, whether you think you have flabby arms, whether you think you're not strong enough, whether you think you're too short, you're too tall, whatever it is, or you don't like how your hair is thinning or graying, or I don't know what all you're thinking, or if you have that midlife acne that really gets on some people's experience, whatever it is, ask yourself how you're holding yourself back from not living fully. So I have wrestled with this because of my extra weight. I thought, oh, maybe I couldn't be on television, or maybe I couldn't be, maybe people wouldn't take me seriously as a life coach if they see that I don't have, a perfectly thin body or whatever, or if they know that I've struggled with my weight over the years and so forth. So I have held myself back, I know, because of that. I've told myself that story. And one person that particularly has helped me shift with that over time more and more, I'm getting better and better about that. And my body love is growing, is Oprah, because, we all of us who watched her when she was on television for 25 years, watched the weight fluctuations right along with her show. Right. She went from thin to fat to really fat, to thin again, to, gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight. She went through the yo-yo roller coaster ride that I've gone through, that I know many of you have gone through, but yet she was still, by whatever definition we've got, wildly successful. She was great at what she did, and she still is, and she's still making a difference in people's lives on a grand scale. She's, financially successful. Her businesses are wildly successful. She's extremely charitable and helping impact people all over the world. And I think by all how it looks anyway, and what she says, she's living a very happy, full, meaningful, wonderful life. And by the way, she's 70 now and looks like a rock star. I saw her on television a couple times recently on award shows, and she just looks fabulous. But anyway, as I watched her over the years, I thought, her weight didn't matter whether she was impacting people or not. Her weight didn't matter whether she was making a difference in the world. That's what I want to do. I just want to make a difference in the world in a positive way to as many people as I possibly can. And Jamie Kerns Lima, the author we're talking about today, who's sharing all of this stuff in her book Worthy, has also apparently had weight issues, and was even told by a big investor that he would not invest in her cosmetic company because he didn't think women would buy makeup from somebody who looked like her. And guess what? He was wrong. So if you are believing your weight determines your worth, you're wrong. If I believe that ever again, I'm wrong. Okay, here's another one. If I stand out, I'll get kicked out. In other words, if I succeed or shine my light in some way, if you shine your light in some way, you're going to get kicked out. You won't belong and you won't be loved. That is a lie. Now, sometimes people can be very uncomfortable when you are shining your light, or when you're quote unquote successful, or when you have a great idea, or when you follow through, or when you have a neat experience. And they can be jealous, or they can not understand, and they might get uncomfortable enough that they leave your life. And if they do, those are not your people. Let me just say, they're not your people, because people who really love you and are healthy want what's best for you. They want you to succeed. They want you to be happy. They want you to shine. So please let yourself shine. You may not have the same people in your life. Some of your people are going to stick by you through anything, and some won't, and it's okay. All right. And then the last one I'll share today is, she says, labels are permanent. That's another lie. Labels are permanent. Okay. So she says, we have labels or we don't realize we're carrying labels along with us, but we can believe them. Like, for example, I grew up in a small town in Iowa on the south side of town, which is where the poorer people lived in that town. Now, if I think of myself as a small town Iowa girl living on the wrong side of the tracks, I'm probably not going to believe that I can, do wonderful things or be helpful or be secure financially or that anybody will believe that anybody would listen to what I have to say or that I wouldn't be worthy of love or any of those things. And I simply do not believe that that is true. But I still am the small town girl from Iowa. I mean, that's absolutely my roots, but it doesn't have to define, what it means for me now. It doesn't mean that I can't, I mean, I think I'm quite a worldly person in terms of I've done, and what I mean by that is I've traveled a lot. I've met people all over the world. I've been in lots of places around the world. I feel like I've educated myself on a lot of things. And so I know a lot more about life and the world and cultures and things than I would if I had never gotten out of Iowa. Iowa, I love Iowa. Iowa's wonderful. Shout out to Iowa. I mean, I know you've got your problems like all states do, but I have a sweet spot in my heart for my upbringing in Iowa, and I'm grateful for it for many, many reasons. But if I would have just remained there and never traveled or never gone out and gotten the different, experiences and opportunities that I I probably wouldn't know as much or have the same perspective on life in the world as I do now. And so we aren't our labels. Some of you say you're in a midlife crisis, and that's your label. I'm in a midlife crisis, or I'm menopausal, and that could, I get it. You're going through menopause, but do not make that a permanent label. Don't think that that is all that you are right now is your menopausal symptoms, because if you just focus on your menopausal symptoms, you're going to experience more of them. So just keep focusing on being who you want to be, who you really are. Again, authenticity. And don't worry so much about whether you're old or you're divorced or you're unemployed or you're, whatever label you're putting on yourself. Okay, because we are not our labels. We are who we are, right? We are who we are. You're the only you there is. And that is enough. It's more than enough. And I just want to drill that into your minds today, because as your self-worth rises, this uplifts the world. I mean, really, you may be thinking I'm getting too woo-woo or song and dancey, but it's true. Like, you cannot get poor enough to help people in poverty. You cannot get sick enough to help unhealthy people. You cannot get sad enough to help, depressed people. What we can do is shine our light, show up as pure love, show up as a high vibration, as great energy, as joy filled and inspired and worthy as we possibly can. And that will lift people up out of poverty, out of sickness, out of sadness. That will bring our world more to peace than it is right now. So it is not selfish at all, not at all, to keep your self-worth high and keep growing that, or get that self-worth up to a very healthy level. It is a win for every one of us. So please do it for you and do it for the rest of us. And I promise to do the same. I'm going to keep on my path to raising my own self-worth, because I know it could be higher than it is. It's pretty good, but I know it can be higher than it's much higher than it was back in the 80s when I didn't go on that day because of how I looked in a swimsuit. I can tell you that right now. It's astronomically higher than that. but I know I've got more work to do. So I'm inspired. Again, thank you, Jamie Kerns Lima, for your work, for your worth, for your sharing that with us. And thank you all for listening. And if you feel inspired to have a conversation with me to help, give me the opportunity to help you raise your self-worth and confidence, please go to timewithcindy.com and get me on your schedule. And I will be so happy and excited to have a conversation with you. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Life Makeovers podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share this podcast with those that you think would also benefit from what we're doing here. And I will talk to you again soon.